Okay, we are back with we're still working on lesson 1-3, and we are doing example 2. Find and interpret extrema. Social media use a table and graph to estimate the extrema of the function that relates the number of hours since midnight x to the number of posts being uploaded y. Describe the meaning of the extrema in the context of the situation. Okay, so these points here are plotted right over here. We have when x is 0, y is 2.8. So here's x is 0, y is 2.8. Okay, when x is 4, we are up at 1.8. Okay, so the number of posts sent blank hours after midnight is blank than the number of posts made at any other time during the day. So I believe that they are looking for the greatest. So what hour do we have the greatest number of posts? Here it is. Here we have the maximum, and that happens 12 hours after midnight. So we're going to go ahead and type in 12. 12 hours after midnight is greater, okay, that's the maximum, is greater than the number of posts made at any other time during the day. The highest point on the graph occurs when x equals 12. Okay, we had decided that. Therefore, the maximum number of posts sent is about blank at what time? Okay, so let's see. We have number of posts from 100,000. So there's 1,100 thousands, which is, and actually it's 11.5. So here is, I'm going to go ahead and type it this way. Let's see. There's 100,000, but they want 11 and a half. Right now I just have 1. So if I make it 11 and a half, sorry guys, this is kind of tricky. It's even confusing me a little bit. Okay, so that's what this number is right here. They should have made this into millions, but this is what this is the information they're giving us. Okay, and at what time was it? See, 12 hours after midnight, that would be around 12 o'clock, right? 12 hours after midnight, that would be noon. Let's go ahead and type in noon. All right, we're going to go ahead and move to the next part. The minima. The number of posts sent blank hours after midnight is blank. Then the number of posts made at any other time during the day. So we're looking for the minima here. The number of posts sent blank hours. So let's look at hours. When is the minimum here? This is not the minimum. These are definitely not the minimum. Right here. And that happens at about 4 hours after midnight. So we're going to go ahead and put 4 hours after midnight is blank. This is the most, the less, greater, least. We're going to say lesser. And the number of posts made at any other time during the day. The lowest point on the graph occurs when x equals 4. Okay, we decided that. Therefore, the minimum number of posts sent is about blank at 4 a.m. Let's put, let's just put 4 a.m. And how many is that? It's about 1.8 100,000. So it's going to be 100 and 180 1,000. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. The relative maximum, the number of posts sent blank hours after midnight is. So let's look for the relative maximum. Let's see. This is not the relative maximum. That is the maximum. That's not the relative maximum. This is the relative maximum. This occurs at how many hours? 16 hours after midnight. Now, this takes a lot of logic and reasoning, okay? You guys have these skills, you guys have this knowledge, but you kind of have to work around it and figure out what they want, what they're talking about. Even I'm having to do that, okay? I'm not finding this to be extremely hard or difficult or anything. The trickiest part is figuring out what they want. Okay, so the number of posts sent 16 hours after midnight is it greater or less than the points around it? This is a maximum, so it's going to be greater. Let's go ahead and type in greater. Than the number of posts during surrounding times. But it is not the greatest number sent during the day. The graph has a relative peak when x equals, we decided it was 16. Therefore, there is a relative peak in the number of posts sent or a relative maximum at, what time would that be? 16 hours after midnight. That would be 4 o'clock p.m. So 4 p.m. Of about how many posts? So let's take a look. 16, how many posts is that? That's going to be about 10. Let's go with 10.2. So this is the 100,000s, and they say there's 10.2 100,000. So 10.2, I have to change this 0 to a 2. And that is correct. Relative minimum. The number of posts sent blank hours after midnight. So now we're going to look for relative minimum. Okay. This looks like it is the minimum. I don't see any point lower. So let's look for relative minimum. Oh, here we go. Right here. This is the relative minimum. That happens 14 hours after midnight. So we're going to go ahead and type in 14. 14 hours after midnight is the lesser number, or less than the number of posts during surrounding times. Okay, that's the least value around that time. But it is not the least number sent during the day. The graph dips when x equals, okay, we decided it was 14. Therefore, there is a relative low in the number of posts sent or a relative minimum at what time? So again, this is stuff that we know. We just have to use common sense, use some logic. So 14 hours after midnight, we know that 12 hours would be noon. We got 2 more hours to go, so 2 p.m. And how many posts were done? Let's go ahead and look at that. 14 hours. It looks up like 9, maybe 0.1, 9.1 100,000. So here's 900,000, but it's 9.1. So 9, I'm going to use that comma as the point. So 9, there we go. 9 Sorry, I got one little, I needed, because I added a 1 there, I need to take one of those off. And get rid of that comma. And we're good to go. Okay, and we will continue with the next lesson in the next video.